I work as a software developer for over 15 years in companies like Riot Games and Amazon Web Services, among many others. And by the end, I was earning a salary of more than $100,000. And one day, I decided to leave all behind to become
the best game developer.
But I have no idea how to make games, so I made one in 24 hours. First thing we need to do is to select an engine, but there are so many! After an exhaustive selection process, we have Unity. So now let's create a new project.
One eternity later.
Let's create our main character doing some pixel art. Voila! Triangle! And now we just slap this bad boy into our game and done! We have our character, but our character is not doing much at the moment. We need some inputs to control the player. We will support keyboard and mouse, controller, Cobayo. After more time than I would like to admit, we have our inputs. Exciting, right? Now we just need to hook the inputs into the player. Careful. Movement, check. Rotation. We can move and we can rotate toward the mouse. Now we just need some enemies. Ha! I created the nemesis of triangles. Squares. So we added the enemies, but they are not doing much. So back to coding. So now the enemies should chase the player. Fuck. Okay, now they actually chase the player. And it took what? Like 3 hours? In survival games, enemies will keep spawning constantly. And the more time it passes, the more bigger and bigger these waves become. Until you are completely overwhelmed. So let's think how the spawn system can actually work. We start with the player. Enemies will start spawning on the map and they will actively chase the player. But we need to ensure enemies don't spawn too close to the player. Otherwise it will not feel fair. So we define a no spawn area around the player and enemies will spawn outside of that area and the area will move with the player. So now we just need to code this thing, but I will not bore you with the details, so coding montage! As we see, the enemies are spawning on the red area and will chase player. Awesome! Our game is slowly taking life, but we are missing a critical factor. Can you guess what, based on the following videos?
Oh, wow!
Can you guess what it is? If your answer was physics, then you are correct. If your answer was collisions, then you are also correct. So we are gonna give our enemies a damaging area around them. And since the enemy will actively chase the player, when it gets too close, the damaging area will actually collide with the player and damage us. A bit more coding and it's done. But poor Triangle cannot do anything against the enemies, so we need to give him something. So now it's payback time. So the game is technically working at the moment. You can kill enemies, they can kill you, but we have no sound. So let's fix it. For the sound effects, we are gonna use a tool called JSFXR, in which we can create simple sounds like explosions, collisions, those kind of things. So I will just pick a couple that I like and I will keep them for the game. And let's find some cool music on Open Game Art. So now our game has passed from this to this. Well, at this point I think this game is ready, so we should start wrapping this up.
Sales! If we wanna sell this bad boy, we need some juice. Engage post-processing. Vignette. Color correction. Bloom. Now show before and after. Nice. Engage particle systems. We need more explosions. Like a man. And that is how you juice your game. Sally, out!
We are almost there, but we need some UI. But come on, it's UI. How hard can it be? We created the basic menu in which we also control the player. We created the HUD in which we show the time that you have spent when you take damage. And a game over menu. Since we have some time left, let's add some enhancements to the game. Enemies will have different amounts of life. Yellow will have 1, purple will have 2, and red will have 3. We also gave each one different speeds.
3, 2, 1, go!
Also for the curious minds, here's the time tracking of all the tasks that I did. And we can see which tasks took me the longest. And this is our first game in 24 hours. It is honestly not the best game, but I'm very proud for being the first one. So I'm gonna keep feeding my Cobayo and having some fun, and I'll leave you with my best record. Let's see if any of you gamers can actually surpass me. Subscribe on the next episode. It works!